How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Massive Beer Reviews. Gonna do a live mystery beer. Why? Because I want to. It is life. Well, beer tubing isn't life, but I want to do a mystery beer. So, what do you want to do about it? So, I got this mystery beer courtesy of Mike from Jersey. As you can see, like, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like a serial killer rep. This one. It's crazy. There's like a ad on. It's basically a newspaper that he used as wrapping, and it's got so much tape on it. It's crazy to the point where I don't know if I'm going to be able to pour this correctly because the tape is all crazy. These are all positives for me. This makes me love this mystery beer so much, and I think this might be my favorite mystery beer wrapping in history of mankind. But I usually don't do the mystery beers live. Especially after I've had a couple of beers. That's right, it is a mystery beer. And I usually don't do them live because I've already done a couple of beers and my palate will be fucked up. But it is so fucking nice right now, it's not even funny. It is like 70 degrees. The sun's going down. I got my beautiful wife there. I got my friend Keith over there. And we're just gonna do it. So let's see what happens. Let's see what's what. Got this glass which was dirty as fuck, and it is dirty as fuck. I just drank a beer out of it because we're gonna do things dirty. That's we have to do it sometimes. So let's see what's what. So this comes from Mike from Jersey. I really didn't want to drink a stout, dude. For reasons other than I got like 4 barrel-aged stouts open over there. But what do we have there? That, my friends. See if we can block the sun so you can get a better look at it. Just looks like a base stout. You know what I mean? Rich, creamy. Nice color to it. Just a bit lighter than I like my coffee to look like colored head. And she'd be dark. So she looks like a stout. Or a porter. She could be a porter. I'm not going to judge yet. Yet. I don't know what it is yet. It actually smells very similar to an Icarus stout. It smells like one of their Russian Imperial stouts. They usually either put like a honey or some kind of like molasses or some kind of adjunct like that that's adding an added sweetness to it, and that's what kind of want to get in here. I don't know if it's a porter or a stout yet. Based off the nose, I'm not getting much heat to it, but it's got this nice added sweetness to it to where it has to be coming from something other than, let's see if we can move this camera so the sun doesn't get in your guys' way, like an added sweetness to it. To where now I'm uncomfortable. An added sweetness to it outside of a base stout. So there's rich chocolate component to it. There's a soft vanilla vibe to it. Even though I don't think there's any kind of vanilla lactose in it. I think it'd be an oat thing. There's just this sweetness to it. Like I said, it's like a molasses honey kind of addition to it. That's what I'm getting on it. So based off nose, I'm guessing it's like a porter stout, closer to Imperial, 8-9%. Dive in. Cheers. Yeah. I think I know what beer this is. I'm pretty sure I know what beer this is. It tastes like an Imperial stout. Tastes like 10%. Tastes like there's some kind of, there's a honey addition. Tastes like there's some added sweetness to it. I'm just gonna stop it right here and say this is is it Icarus? Yeah, Icarus Brewing's Vlad to be here. That's it tastes like that. That's what it tastes like. It tastes like they're glad to be here. So let's see what this sucker has to offer. Yeah, I don't even want to go anywhere with it anymore, to be perfectly honest with you. So it is just, I don't even know how to open this. How the fuck do you open this goddamn thing? Jesus Christ. I have no, anybody have a knife on them? No? Oh! Beer shooting everywhere, so that's nice. I could be getting trolled on this. This could be a thing on purpose where somebody does it to where, okay. That's all I have to do is I have to get to this. There we go. We don't have to unwrap the whole thing. We just have to get it so you guys can see what beer it is. And it is Icarus's Vlad to be here. It just is a very distinct stout. What's in this again? I forget. I'm gonna have to rip the rest of it up. It's a Russian Imperial Stout brewed with wildflower, honey, brown sugar, addition on cinnamon, Mexican coffee, Madagascar, and vanilla beans. Okay. I didn't really talk about all that because I kind of thought I knew what it was, so I was kind of hyper focusing on trying to taste it and understand that, okay, this is the beer that I've had previously. So I kind of focused on that. I didn't really break down the beer. I should have probably done that. That would probably make a bit more of an entertaining video. But it just, I knew I had it before. I could taste it, and it was just like, okay, this is this. Now, you know, Mike's from Jersey. In the box that he actually sent me, he sent me a Icarus power juicer. So there's a little bit of power suggestion on this, and that, okay, he's sending me an Icarus beer, so he's getting Icarus beers on the reg. So it probably leans a little bit closer than that. It's in a 12-ounce can. It's not in like a big pounder can, which kind of opens your door for how many possibilities could possibly be. So that kind of helps you kind of narrow that down. Just not even from like, I know what it is. Just be like, okay, it tastes like this beer that I've only seen or had in a 12-ounce can, and it comes from Jersey. It's probably that beer. So there's a little bit of kind of like tricky math to it, but still fucking guessed it. But yeah, this is a tasty beer. I dig this beer. It is probably the worst beer I could open right now, to be perfectly honest with you. Only for the sole reason of, I just typically when I do beer reviews, I go outside, and well, it's nice outside, I go outside and do them. And then I stand at this table. This is the table I kind of stand at, and it kind of overlooks our view over here, where you can see our beautiful view. Our cows down there. There's two babies. The moms are way off in the distance, gorging themselves on some delicious hay. But I have my little like setup here. And what did I do? And I saw, actually, he said, "What's going on?" Scotch for everyone. That would be Carson. We have our Northern Roots. I did a side-by-side of big, huge Imperial Stouts. So not only do I have these huge Imperial Stouts to open, or actually they're already open, I have to drink them. Got a blackout Keith there. We don't want to have him on camera or break shit. But now I have that Vlad to be here to drink. Which, honestly, could be a, it's not a negative. It's not a bad thing, you know? But it's too nice outside. Usually I don't do these, like I said, but that was a fun one to do live. Especially when you get it right. Everything's funner when you get it right. But yeah, that's it. Well, what else do you want to talk about? Because I kind of don't want to stop talking because I'm one of those people. It was a good day, right, Keith?
Yes.
Oh, he speaks. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Went on a beer trip today. Went to Conclave Brewing. You guys probably saw over there. Have a couple Conclave beers. Those will be up in the kind of review world. Have you seen the new Hop Butcher beer yet? Which new Hop Butcher beer? I've seen a couple of them, but they just sent me off a box that had a couple different beers in it. They sent me off. It was Shark Bite and then their Colombian Coffee Stout, Wave Burst. I think I did see that, but I didn't look into it. I just saw kind of the art on it. Oh, it came out yesterday, so I probably didn't see it. But they sent me off like 2 4-packs. One was Megabyte, and one was their Colombian Exposition Coffee Stout, which is one of my favorite beers that I've ever made. I'm not going to re-review those. I reviewed those previously, so those are just for my drinking pleasure. The other ones will go up shortly. I believe it was their kind of St. Patrick's Day beer, which was the green beer, the one made with mint. And then there was the second one. Oh, I forget which one that was. But they sent both of those off, so I'll be putting those up shortly. But yes, Green Moss, that's the one I'm talking about. And I went to Conclave today, picked up a couple beers from them, and came back and actually reviewed one of them. I'll post that normally, and then went to another local brewery, Lone Eagle. That was fun, and came back here and decided to pop off a couple of reviews. Other than that, beer things, I just posted a new podcast. I'm doing a podcast again. I kind of took the winter off. It was too hard with driving and all that kind of stuff like that. And live 20 minutes from Hop Butcher. Okay. Do they can you go to the brewery and drink their beers at Miskatonic, or is it just they just put their cans out and that's pretty much it? I always wondered that, if they actually had a draft line there of their stuff. But anyway, I went and started doing a podcast again. I actually did interviewed Torch and Crown Brewing, first brewery in Manhattan in frickin' forever. I did a round table with my friends up there in Carmaine Street Beers, but I just posted a cool one. So if you guys are interested in it, I'd really like to let you guys kind of check it out. I did a podcast with Tom from Muckraker Brewing. It's actually Muckraker Beer Maker. They're a sour, I say sour, but it's more of a funky, wild, spontaneous brewery opening in what was it, Franklin? Franklin, New Jersey. It's up north. It's actually not too far away from like 80, but it's also like you're up in that kind of Orange County, New York area. It's not that far. What is it, like 10 minutes away from the New York border or something like that? It's way up there in North Jersey. But I heard about him for a bit, and his brewery's not even open yet. Now, usually, if I'm going to do a podcast, I'm not really going to do a podcast to somebody that doesn't have a brewery open. That's kind of weird, but I've had his beers. They piqued my interest, and we ended up having a conversation, and it came out quite well. And he's opening like kind of like an American style version of a kind of, for lack of a better term, a Goose Lambic brewery. And the cool part about it is, one, he's actually making his own wort. You see a lot of these breweries that are doing the sour, spontaneous thing nowadays, they don't make their own beer. They're the wort, I should say. A lot of them are blenderies that do like a lot of like outside kind of spontaneous fermentation stuff, which is totally fine. But he's doing all that himself. On top of, it's probably one of the more, I don't want to say knowledgeable, I don't want to say in tune, because I want to use the right word, but I don't know if I can think what it is. But one of the more geeky, I guess you would say, kind of like sour, funky, wild lambic. I mean, Keith will attest. Like, that dude is just talking about shit, like going crazy about talking about wild lambic, like being like, oh, when I went and talked to this person about this, and he's talking about, and he's not doing it in a pretentious way. He's talking about like people that make these beers in Belgium, but he's calling by their first name, and he's talking about when he, like, you know, oh, this person did this when we were there, we were drinking this. It wasn't like, oh, look who I drank with. It's like, I want to do things similar in that vein. Go ahead, Keith. Sorry.
I actually asked questions during that interview because
that's how interesting it was. Keith opened his mouth.
Because
Yeah. And it's cool to see those kind of breweries open. Have I ever had my own interest in brewing my own beer? Sure. I think everybody does. Do you know what I mean? At some point, I've brewed beer before. I've done it, not on a commercial scale, but I've helped homebrewers do it. I've had my fingers into a beer deep enough to where I could say I was part of making that beer. I've never done it solo because I've never had the equipment on my own to actually do it, but I've also helped on a production scale too, so I've helped do it. But I've always been of the, I try to say this in a way that doesn't sound too assholishness, because that's a word, is that some people like to make the race car, some people like to drive the race car. I like to drive the race car. After a race car driver wins the race, you know, some people talk to the driver, some people talk to the mechanic, there's a bit of difference there. I'd never want to be a brewer, let's put it that way. I would never want to be a day-to-day brewer. I would love to be a day-to-day, like, owner of a brewery that's super fucking, like, famous, to where I don't have to do all that hard work and lifting and all that bullshit, but I don't have the want to actually dive in and make all that fucking happen, so I would never do it. I don't have the money to own a brewery, but things can change. I live on a farm, you know what I mean? I have access to growing things, I have access to doing things, so, if my interests, if I were to find the time and the motivation to do that, I think I would have access to what I need to do it in the way I'd want to do it, and that I could do the beers I want to do, but I wouldn't even get that far, honestly. It's more, I like talking about, I like the environment. How do I put it? I like the environment sitting at the bar. Like, for example, me and Keith went to Conclave today. You're not going to find two bigger fucking introverts that don't want to talk to anybody ever than me and Keith. And we sat at a table, and this older couple sat down. And I ended up bumping into a guy. I forget what was that guy's name? I forget his name. John. I ended up bumping.
That was the older couple.
The older couple?
Rob?
I forget, dude. It's not that I forget you. I forget names. But I ended up bumping into a guy down there who kind of started a blog and kind of introduced himself and stuff like that. And so What's up, brother? It was cool to meet you today. Anyway, and then another couple sat down, and they just started talking about beer, but in the most non-pretentious way whatsoever. They were like, we're going out and about, and we're going to stop at these breweries, and we're going to chug some beers, and we want to get some food, and this is delicious, and we like that. And there was no like chasing lines, there was no chasing cans, there was nothing outside of them just having a really good time. And we talked for a fucking half an hour? And that's what piques my interest. That's what really does me proper when it comes to beer, is sitting down at a bench or a seat or a table. That's why I'm a bar guy typically. That's the one thing that probably irks me most about breweries, is that I can't belly up to a bar. More times than not. I mean, you have breweries that have bars, but more often than not, you're sitting at a park bench, or you're sitting at some super uncomfortable metal fucking, what do they call those things? Not chairs. Don't be an asshole. What do they call them? Stools. That's why they call him best color man in the business, everybody. But you're sitting on an uncomfortable stool, and that's pretty much it. There's no belly up to the bar, and like that's the thing I love. So like when I go to breweries that allow you to do that, that's the stuff that really kind of turns me on, and that's when I want to kind of, one, be involved with, but two, also celebrate. So when I talk about kind of drinking beers and hanging out and having a good time, I'm talking about, beers that are good or bad or whatever. But I'm also interested in that portion of the culture, not the actual how the sausage is made, if you will. Anyway, so back to the whole discussion of the Muckraker beer maker. So I ended up doing a podcast with him, and it was just one of the more combination of geeky yet super excited dudes when it comes to actually producing beer. You could tell he just wants to make good beer, just wants to make beer in that style. He doesn't want to call his beer lambic. He doesn't want to call his beer goose. He just wants to make good, funky, rich. I use that word purposefully because he went on and on about how him brewing his beer, he has the capability to make those long string dextrin fucking that you have to have that sweetness to balance off that tartness and the funkiness, and he goes into what he wants to make, and it was a good experience. And the brewery's not even open yet, so definitely go check that podcast out if you guys have the time. You know what I mean? Go to my podcast thing. It's just Beer Massive. Just type that in the Googs. You'll get there eventually, and see it. It's like a Muckraker beer maker. It was a really fun one to do. Plus the brewery was awesome acoustic, so it's probably one of the better sound recorded podcasts that I've done in a while. It's funny. He wrote me. He's like, "Oh my god, you made me sound so good." I was like, I chopped it up and posted it. I didn't do anything. I didn't add any reverb. He's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, your brewery's fucking works, So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this off. It's already been 17 minutes. It's a beer review. It's not a hangout. If I had people that wanted to do a hangout, anybody out there want to do a hangout? I don't know. We'll see. My wife might want me to stop yammering into a camera, but anyway. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the mystery beer, the live one. It was a little bit easier. I saw Mike comment actually say the other one's a little bit more interesting, so I'm going to be looking forward to that one, brother. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this beautiful day. Hopefully you're here in North Jersey or anywhere close, relatively close, enjoying this beautiful. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, this is what life is about. Look at that. Cows, barking dogs, random gunfire in the distance. I mean, it's Jersey to a T, baby. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this beautiful Sunday. Hopefully you're enjoying a mystery beer or two. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.